lost 3 brave souls in an attack on our base, and we shall respond.
The White House vowing to retaliate, saying that it's working through options after 3 American service members were killed in a drone attack on a U.S. military base in Jordan. Explosives hit the facility's living quarters near the border of Syria as those soldiers slept. More than 30 were injured.
The President and I will not tolerate attack on U.S. forces, and we will take all necessary actions to defend the U.S. and our troops.
The soldiers who were part of a mission to fight the remnants of ISIS are the first Americans killed in months of strikes by Iranian-backed militant groups since the start of the Israel-Hamas war, October 7th. Iran's denying involvement, but one of the groups it backs, called the Islamic Resistance in Iraq, has claimed responsibility, partly in revenge, it says, for Israeli military actions in Gaza. The deadly attack marking a significant escalation in the tensions in the Middle East. Joining us live to discuss is retired 4-star Army General Barry McCaffrey, also an NBC military analyst. Thanks for being with us, General.
Good to be with you, Josh.
As you know, since October, the Defense Department has reported more than 160 attacks on U.S. and coalition forces in the Middle East. How do you think the White House should respond to this latest deadly attack?
Well, it's a hugely complex situation. Deterrence has essentially broken down. We've seen dozens and dozens of attacks on U.S. forces in Iraq, in Syria, in the Red Sea, and now in Jordan. So it's a real dilemma. The Biden administration has been very strong, Secretary Austin, Secretary Blinken, in trying to not escalate this war. I think now they're faced with a challenge that they have to respond to. Hopefully, it will not include directly attacking Iran. But I do think they're going to have to give continuing authority for preemptive strikes against military threats to our forces in the region. And we do have, 2,500 some odd troops in Iraq, 900 or so in Syria, and a sizable naval presence in the Red Sea.
How does the U.S. respond? I know some are calling for a direct attack on Tehran, but how does the U.S. respond without being drawn deeper into the conflict?
Well, of course, that's a fundamental challenge that the National Security Council is going to have to face up to. They'll discuss an array of options. They won't be just military. They may be diplomatic, covert action, economic. The Biden administration had recently relaxed economic constraints on Iran, so maybe they reinstate them. There may be a warning process in which we go at the highest levels to the Iranians and say, if this happens again, we will take the following action: mine your harbors. Who knows? But it is a challenge. I don't think they're going to go after Iran directly, even though they clearly are orchestrating throughout the region these attacks on U.S. forces.
Let's talk about the Israel-Hamas war for a moment. What are you hearing about negotiations on a new hostage deal and a possible ceasefire?
Well, one can only hope. This has been a bloody, unbelievable conflict, obviously completely brought on by the cruel 7 October murder, torture, rape, and abduction of hundreds and hundreds of innocent Israeli civilians. But I think basically the Israelis are now under such international pressure, humanitarian pressure, political pressure from the United States that they're going to have to wind this down. It's going to be a bitter pill for them to accept because they won't forget for 100 years what happened to them on 7 October. But with any luck, we may well see a cessation of hostilities in the coming weeks.
Which would be a good thing on all sides. As you know, more than 26,000 civilians have died in Gaza. A number of Israeli soldiers have been killed. The hostages still are not released. And it's a humanitarian crisis on all fronts in Gaza right now. So, I mean, on the other side of this, what do things look like?
Well, that's the big challenge to Secretary Blinken and our regional allies, all of whom are remaining mute. You haven't heard one word out of the Egyptians about the Suez Canal restrictions happening in the Red Sea, not a word out of Jordan. They even denied that the latest attack was in Jordan. They said it was in Syria, which of course is not the case. Where are the Saudis? The Saudis have sought a truce with the Iranians. and they're loath to imperil that. So our regional allies have not stepped up to the plate. Gaza needs peace, Gaza needs reconstruction, Gaza needs Hamas to be neutralized and some new political authority in place. That's going to require regional support, not just U.S. initiatives.
And there's no agreement on what that new regime might look like in Gaza, is there?
No, it's astonishing. I mean, the Palestinian Authority clearly is a corrupt, incompetent group that can barely respond in the West Bank. Hamas would be an unacceptable situation for the Israelis to remain in charge of, massive international aid. So I keep hoping to hear that somehow the U.S. can help orchestrate an international Arab coalition to take receivership of Gaza and to try and create peaceful conditions and economic reconstruction. Very little word of that so far.
General Barry McCaffrey, it is always a pleasure to have you on our show, and your insight is invaluable to us. Thank you so much.
Be with you, George.